Black fatigue is a collective tiredness that everyone in the country, especially in the United States, has for black people.
Black fatigue? This where we at now? Imagine how we feel.
Okay, first off, I want to say that it's good to see that the Pine Sol lady is still out there and making videos. And secondly, I can't believe you think we have to imagine what black people feel about anything when you all are constantly telling us how you feel about everything.
Y'all even colonized that. Like, black fatigue is not what y'all created it to be.
All right, I don't know if this is gonna make things better or worse, but I've seen several black people online saying that this isn't what black fatigue originally meant. And you're right, it's been cleaned up for social media because what people are really calling it is N-bomb fatigue, but they're saying the actual word. So that may or may not make you feel better, but I think it might give you an idea of exactly how fatigued people are. Yeah, girl, I'm gonna need to call in sick today. Child, I got black fatigue. I'm just tired. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so I'm sure everybody's seen by now. It's been trending all over social media. Black fatigue is what people are talking about, and white people are taking the blame for it. But I've got to be honest, a lot of us are feeling black fatigue. And when I say a lot of us, that's including black people as well. And just to give my unsolicited opinion, which is pretty much what this channel is about, I really don't think it's a race thing as much as it's a software thing. And when I say that, what I mean is I think almost everybody right now of all different races is trying to level up, is trying to do better, is trying to move ahead. But there's a certain group of people that really don't want to make those adjustments, don't want to do better, and don't want to level up. And so that's what's causing a lot of people of all races to start to suffer from a certain amount of fatigue. And in some cases, it's causing people to lash out. And in turn, it's causing other people to not feel sympathetic when those people do actually lash out. And I want to be very clear, this is not directed at all black people. And I know some people are still going to jump on and call me racist, but I don't really care if people think that. Because the most honest I can be with you is to tell you that I don't think there's anything racist in saying that I think that these people are completely capable of behaving in society. I think that these people are completely capable of obeying the rule of law. I think these people are completely capable of disagreeing with others without having to resort to getting physical, just like the rest of us do. And I don't think there's anything racist about saying that. But what I think would be racist would be to imply that these people aren't capable of doing any of those things. Because to say that I don't think that these people are capable of behaving just like the rest of us, to me would be to imply that these people are either mentally or emotionally deficient. And to me, that would be racist. So I'm gonna go through this woman's video, but I'm gonna warn you, she's one of the people that's trying to make excuses for this behavior. And in my opinion, this woman's thinking is one of the reasons that I've recently been saying that I think that black is the new trans. Because to me, the trajectory of the two groups are eerily similar, except for the trans community is further gone. Like right now, the black community is at that point that the trans community was at maybe like a year and a half ago, when the trans community was really trying to push the craziness and everybody was telling them, stop trying to trans the children, stop trying to tell us we're all supposed to go by cisgender, stop trying to force your way into women's sports. And instead of taking any of that in and understanding that everybody was getting tired of them, the trans community started to really try to explain away their behavior and why we were supposed to just put up with it and why we weren't supposed to give resistance and why we were being phobic if we didn't just give in and do whatever it is they wanted. So as a society, collectively, people just got like, all right, we are done with your doo-doo, trans people. Some people said it out loud and some people kept it to themselves. But either way, we were collectively done. And that's what's happening right now with the black community and people talking about black fatigue on every social media platform, is that people are trying to say, this is where you guys are going too far. This is what we're tired of. And people like this person that I'm going to review the video from just keep trying to make excuses and try to tell us why we're supposed to just go ahead and continue to put up with this. And eventually people are just going to completely revolt and black is going to find itself in a similar position to trans. And when I'm done reviewing this woman's video, I'm going to play a clip from a man who happens to be black that really, really gets it.
People are tired of dealing with niggas and niggas.
And then I'll tell you guys why this bothers me so much. So let's go ahead and get into this video. And a quick reminder for anybody that wants to see me perform live. This coming Friday, May 23rd, I'm going to be performing in Los Angeles, California with the one and only Leonardo Joni. If you want to see me, this is the time to do it. I'm really not doing the road much. I'll go ahead and make my Instagram link the pinned comment down below. So if you want, you can hit me up on direct message on Instagram and I'll send you all the information for the show, as well as a discount code if you want to come out and see me. Now let's get on with this craziness.
Black fatigue? This is where we at now? Imagine how we feel. Y'all even colonized that. Like, black fatigue is not what y'all created it to be. It was the fatigue of black people having to exist in this country and dealing with all y'all dumb.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right here because I noticed you mentioned colonization. And I think if you all were smart, you would stop using the term colonization. And I know that ever since Black Panther came out, black people have thought it was cute to refer to white people as colonizers and talk about colonization. But if you don't know the definition for colonization, the definition for colonization actually involves indigenous people. And I hate to break it to you, but black people were not the indigenous people of this particular country. And to tell you the truth, technically, and I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, black people were tools used for colonization. But the people that were colonized on these lands were the Native Americans and the Mexicans. And if you know any Native Americans, of whom I know many from a lot of different tribes, and I myself am Mexican American, which I know more of those than I need to if you ask me. But my point is, all of the natives I know, even though they tend to really know their history and the ways that they were wronged while this country was being established, tend to be really cool, tend to be upwardly mobile, and trying to better themselves and their communities. Plus, they've got casino money. Neither here nor there. And the Mexicans that aren't already a part of this country, I don't know if you know this, I don't know if you watch the news, but they're risking life and limb to sneak in. So what I'm getting at is if the people that were actually colonized on these lands aren't complaining and going on and on about colonization, why should you be? I mean, it's almost a stolen valor situation with some black people and their claims of colonization, and we're all getting tired of hearing about it. Besides, I've heard a lot of people talking about how before your ancestors were brought here, they were all kings and queens, which really doesn't gel with my knowledge of political science, but I only made it to 9th grade, so who am I to argue? But assuming that you're all correct, which I'm sure you are, it seems to me that the people that are really bothered by the colonization that happened in this country should be hopping on planes to Africa to go reclaim their respective kingdoms. I mean, I know that living as royalty in Africa will be a step down from the EBT and Section 8 that you've enjoyed here, but I have faith that you'll all manage. So if it really bothers you that much, it sounds to me like you should have a plan in place. So let's not argue about this. You've got a flight to catch. Zamunda needs you.
We were tired, not y'all.
Okay, I'm glad we're speaking in the past tense. We were tired, not y'all. Got it. And we're tired now. So stop making excuses and pull it together, Mary.
Imagine telling the internet that you're tired of all the ghetto-ness and the ratchetness and all of the fights when y'all are quite literally the godfathers of violence in this country.
Wait a second. If white people are the godfathers of violence in this country, why are the majority of fight videos and videos of people ripping stores apart or looting or setting things on fire or starting actual riots, why are the majority of those videos full of black people? Is that AI? You know, the Waffle House up the street from my place isn't open past 11 p.m. because it's the site of one of the most famous internet Waffle House fights. And that was black people. But again, let's take you at your word and say that white people were the godfathers of violence. You all definitely took to it like a fish to water. So again, stop making excuses for ghetto and ratchet behavior and just understand that people are tired of it.
And then all the ghetto and ratchet speak. Your kids are emulating exactly what we say and calling it Gen Alpha and Gen Z speak when it was just AAVE repackaged to be palatable for white people.
Okay, for anybody that's not familiar, AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English. And to a point, yes, a lot of that has been adopted and has turned into what they call Gen Z or Gen Alpha speak. But I also think it's important for black people to understand that not everything that's good in this country comes from black people or black culture, which is what a lot of you are saying online right now. And this really is a melting pot with a lot of different cultures coming together in one country to give us collectively the flavor that we have as the United States of America. So while a lot of us can acknowledge and do see the contributions that black people have made to this country when it comes to culture or sports or entertainment, at this point, the ghetto and the ratchet part is not worth the trade-off. And that doesn't really seem to be sinking in for a lot of you.
What are we talking? Like, y'all are quite literally exhausting. But like 8.5 by 11s are gonna do this all the time. I'm not worried about the hueless.
We're exhausting. Sounds like a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black fatigue to me. But anyway, for anybody that's not familiar, 8.5 by 11 is the standard size of a sheet of paper, which is typically what? White. And clever, I will give you that. But while we're on the subject, what I want to talk about is all of the different ways that black people will refer to everybody else and white people especially. And then at the same time, think about the way that black people will get super sensitive when they feel like anybody is referring to them as any kind of slur or anything that might even have a hint of anything to do with race involved with it, all the way down to microaggressions. And then we'll all never hear the end of it because it's just the most racist thing ever, and how dare you refer to us this way, and how dare you make this particular joke or talk about us this particular way. And that's what people are tired of, is the double standard. If you left it up to me, if you left it up to a lot of us, white people, brown people, Asian people, we would all continue to be fun about everything. But for some reason, black people refuse to allow themselves to be part of the fun when it comes to that. It suddenly becomes racist and somebody has to lose their job or has to lose their social media, or it has to turn into a situation where they're constantly in fear for their life because they said something that a particular group of people don't like. But meanwhile, while you're doing the same to all the rest of us, we're supposed to be good sports about it. We're supposed to act like it's fun. But for what reason? What is it that makes your particular group so superior to everybody else that we're all supposed to just put up with constant abuse, and then when we give it back to you, even if we're just having fun, even if we're being good-natured, we're supposed to lose our entire lives over it? And so what I think's going on right now with people being so open with the way that they feel about black people and feeling as free as they do really is coming from that constant double standard and that hypocrisy that's happening. And like I said in the beginning, people are just starting to lash out, and since people are tired of it, they're just getting like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say and I don't care how anybody feels about it. And it's making it so other people are just like, yeah, say whatever you want to say, because obviously they don't care how we feel when they talk about us, or when they say things about us that could come off as disparaging. For some reason at that point is justified. And that is going to find us in a situation, or I should say find these particular people in a situation where they do end up living in a world that's everything that they've been complaining about up until this point. And really it's all going to be because by saying it over and over and accusing everybody in this country of being racist for so long, you basically manifested it. And again, when you say things like this, there are going to be certain black people that think that because the rest of us are tired of putting up with this particular treatment and the hypocrisy, that means they then have rights to put hands on people. And when things do go down like that, you are going to end up being the ones to go to prison over it. And it's not going to be based on race. It's going to be because you all have a tendency to not understand the law. And that's the other thing that nobody's been nice enough to tell you. You all getting incarcerated at higher rates and meeting your end at the hands of law enforcement is not because of race in 2025. It really is because in a lot of cases, you don't know the laws and you don't know how to cooperate once you've broken them. But you're not ready for that conversation. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to see how fast we can get to 100,000 subscribers. We just passed 81,000. Thank you all very much. When you hit the subscribe button, make sure you click the bell, select all notifications so that you know every time I upload. Now let's get back to this wine fest explanation of black fatigue.
However, the black people getting on and co-signing.
I'm so glad she brought this up because this is the real threat to people like her. See, people like her will really go after other black people that admit that they're tired of the ghetto and the ratchet. And that's not just because they'll validate what the rest of us are saying, but it's also because those usually are the black people that are excelling and do have children that behave and are making their lives and their communities better. And it bothers people like this because it completely blows apart their case that the ghetto and the ratchet is necessary and that there is no way for them to better themselves or better their lives. So they'll call them Uncle Toms and coons and everything else, and really it's just because they blow apart all the excuses that people like this hide behind.
The black fatigue to make white people feel better could not be me. I imagine agreeing with white people when they aren't even picking you.
Yeah, this is a major one. Calling people a pick-me. I've been called a pick-me from the gay community, and I've also been called a pick-me from the Latino community as well. But what the people like this woman don't get is that the people they call pick-me's, like myself, we really aren't trying to get picked for anything. It really is just about calling out things that we see, even if they happen to be from people of our own communities, because the things that we're calling the people from our own communities out about are really things that should just be expected of all of us if we're going to be part of a functional society. Like if you think about most of the things that the particular black people that we're talking about right now are complaining about, it usually is of their own doing. Like not too long ago, people were mad at stores like Walmart and Target because they were starting to close locations that were in black neighborhoods. But if you know anything about those situations, in a lot of cases, those particular locations had been looted during different riots, or they were constantly getting stolen from. Well, guess what? If a store's constantly getting stolen from, or it's likely to get looted, then that store is probably not going to be profitable. And then when you also factor in putting employee safety at risk, then it's probably going to be hard to get people to work there in the first place. And guess what? If a store location can't be profitable, or employee safety is constantly going to be at risk, then it's likely that that store isn't going to want to keep that location open in your area. And then when it comes to some of these people saying that they have trouble getting jobs, well, it's probably not based on your race or skin color in 2025. It might be because you give off a ghetto and ratchet vibe, and the last thing they need is somebody that's going to behave like those two women behaved a couple weeks ago on that viral video of Frontier Airlines. So you're really working against yourselves, and then you're wanting to blame everybody else for it. And then when everybody else is telling you, hey, these are the ways you could help yourselves out, or this is what we're noticing that is really making people less likely to want to deal with you or be in your areas, and instead you're trying to argue it. I mean, continue to live in the world you want to, but don't get mad at me or call it racism when it doesn't turn out to be the world that you wanted it to be.
Super weird. But like, sure, being held accountable for your racist ideology. If I were white and I had to constantly hear that black people are right and then it proves out,
Well, one, you're not white. And two, black people usually aren't right, and it doesn't usually prove out. It's just you all don't tend to admit when you're wrong. And up until recently, it hasn't been politically correct to do anything but just nod and agree when black people said things were a particular way. But go on, please.
And you're sitting there being mad? Yeah, I'd be mad too. I too would be annoyed if I were half the age of black women but looked twice as old as them.
That doesn't really have anything to do with anything we're talking about right now. But if we're doing that, you're fat. And nobody's jealous of the fat chick. I'm just trying to say, don't take it to the physical, boo-boo, because you're not really winning in that one.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too. So hold your black fatigue and raise yourself some accountability.
I would say to take your own advice.
Because, oof. Happy Monday, y'all. Black fatigue, shut up.
I think it's ironic that she ended her video that way because I think that's the way we all feel is black fatigue, shut up. It's like, yeah, shut up with the black fatigue. And honestly, if your people invented it, that should tell you how much you all complain, is that you had to put a name on it. And you had to know that eventually we were going to get tired. And so I'm going to play this video right now because I want you guys to really understand that there are people that definitely do get it. I'll make my point after this man is done, but I just want to let him completely make his point because he does it so well. And I don't feel like there's any real benefit to me interrupting him. It's a short one, so check it out.
People are tired of dealing with and niggas. Black fatigue is a collective tiredness that everyone in the country, especially in the United States, has for black people. People are tired of the ghetto-ness, the ratchetness, the loud behavior, the fighting, the arguing. They're tired of all that shit from black people. They're tired of black people using the race card to escape any kind of criticism or any kind of trouble at all. They're tired of the excuse from black people for why they can't do something is because, well, I'm black, and because of slavery, and because of racism, and because of a bunch of bullshit that does not affect them in reality. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is for black people to acknowledge that they have a problem. Our culture is a problem. The way that we handle ourselves and handle issues is a problem. Black people need to stop acting as if there is nothing wrong with us, that we are perfect and nothing can be done wrong by black people. We need to stop putting our faith and value in entertainers. They give us a poor representation, a poor image. We need to redefine the objectives and roles of both men and women within the black community. We need to put more value in education, not sports and not rapping, not dealing and doing bull. Our entire collective consciousness and our focus needs to change if we want to do better.
I could not have said it better myself, sir. And that's really what it's about. So that's why I wanted to make this video. And that's what my real point in all of this is I've told you guys before, I'm not going to be the guy to be like, I've got black friends, so I can say this. I'll say anything I want, anytime I want, because I'm American and that's my right. Also, I know where my heart is and I do know what my friend circle actually is. And I do know the black people that are making money. It sounds like such a bitchy way to put it, but it's true. I know so many black people that are making money, that are doing well for themselves, that are doing way better than I'm doing. But it's true. I mean, like, I can't put it any more honestly than that. More educated than I am, families in some cases, great careers. Okay, I'm really reading myself now, but it's true. And they'll talk to me about this kind of stuff and just be like, yeah, we're tired of it too. Or there's certain places that I'll go that they won't go because they're like, yeah, I don't deal with that level of black person. And the reason that I'll go to these particular places is because I don't live the same experience that they do. Where they're associated with it, I go in as a visitor. It's sort of like me when it comes to dealing with other Latinos or other LGBT for that matter. When I'm around those particular groups of people, people associate me with that. And I don't want people to think that I'm supportive or a part of that. So I will stay away. And I notice a lot of black people doing that as well. And the reason that it does bother me so much is because so many black people have fought so hard to get to where they are right now. And while there will always be true racism in this country, and I'll never deny that there is an element of that, that's so minuscule at this point that it really doesn't have to be a factor in your everyday life. But where I see things headed is with people moving back more towards that. Once we get to that point, it's going to be really really hard to undo, because while I'm not trying to simp or be a pick-me, I do notice that for the last several years, white people really have been getting abused. And I don't think that we as fellow Americans should stand by and continue to let that happen. And I don't think it's right for anybody of any ethnicity or skin color to expect a group to be constantly victimized, villainized, or in the best case scenario, completely ignored because of their skin color or their race. I mean, the point of the whole exercise wasn't to have any kind of black supremacy. It was for everybody to be equal. And I feel like as a country, we really were getting closer to that and can continue to get closer to that. But it is going to be on the black community to self-correct, or it's just going to continue to get worse. So in my opinion, it really is a choose your own adventure for that particular part of the black community. And I think the good news is that most people do understand the difference between the ghetto and the ratchet, and the black people that are actually trying to be functional members of society or are functional members of society. And I think it's going to have a lot less to do with the way that people look. I think that what's happening is that people are going to start just judging more on the content of a person's character rather than being like they've been for the last several years, which is, if you're black, we're supposed to automatically be cool to you. We're supposed to automatically give you more allowances towards bad behavior. We're supposed to automatically give you more opportunities. I think that part is done. And so once everything corrects itself, or that part of the black community just gets completely ostracized or put in prison, or whatever happens to them, I think that we will be better off as a society with everybody of all races that wants to make things better and wants to actually see our country get better. But that's just where I'm at on it. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you want to see a video of me talking about the Georgia college student that just needs to go back to Mexico now, click the video on your screen. Other than that, thank you for watching. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.